Hello everyone. I just got a 20 on FMC, on an unofficial Scramble. The Scramble is right there. It's from 323 FM. It's the daily from July 24th. And that'll be on the website forever, so you can go ahead and try it if you like. But yeah, that was like an hour ago, and I finally stopped freaking out about it. So now I figure I might as well kind of just go over. Yeah, here's just the solution sheet. So I figured I would just go over the solution, kind of just talk about it. Yeah, okay, cool. So the first thing, this is the Scramble also. The Scramble is also on the screen. It's kind of small. I'll probably put it in the description. The first thing to notice here is that we have a 2-move EO on this axis, because we have 3 bad pieces here and 1 bad piece here. And all we need to do is 4 on the same face, and then now we have EO done in 2 moves. That is particularly good. It's like very, very, very good actually. 3 moves EO is common. 2 moves I think are very uncommon. Interestingly, it actually gives 4C4E immediately here. 4 bad corners, 2 bad edges. But if you continue on this path, which I obviously tried that first. That's what these top ones are. I didn't find anything. Maybe there was something decent here, but there was nothing if you just directly continue. And if you go to the inverse and do 1 move for RZP, there was like this one, which was like an 11 move DR for B3. I was like, whatever, I don't really care. Maybe let's move on. The more interesting one is this one, B2RF. And so it's like, why would you try a 3-move EO? And this is actually something that I think is interesting. When you have this case where you have like all of the bad edges are not on the other face. So we're doing EO on this axis, right? So F and B are the last quarter turns that we want to do. We have a degree of freedom here where we can actually do B2 here and it doesn't affect the EO at all, because these 4 pieces end up staying still. So that's just like a 1-move extension that's like kind of straightforward to just try. So yeah, so after doing that, it's like, okay, well, the time to try the 3-move EOs, and B2RF is one of them. I always write my EOs with a normal move rather than a prime move, because you can just do F and F prime are the same essentially because they're just 1 move. But I did notice that if you do F2 and then do R, so the F2 is already done, now I do R, you notice that you actually get 4C4E again. 2 bad, 1, 2, 3, and 4 bad, which is kind of nice. 4C4E, RZP in 4, which is great. At this point, I don't know what this shape is. I don't really know my shapes very well. So I just spammed random stuff. B2U, B2U2, R2U2, R2UR. Basically here it's just get this piece connected to this like this. And then we have this piece, we're going to connect that here. So we have this line, U2, R2, UR, just completes our DR there. 11-move DR, nothing special, but the next characters are the interesting ones. 4A1, 4E, which is a great case when you can get it to work. And in particular, this is a really good case here. Yeah, it's 4A1, because these 2 are bad, these 2 are bad, these 2 are orange, and well, all of them are going to end up on white, so it's A on both sides, and then when you trace, you get an odd trace. So it's 4A1, 4E, 1, 2, these are bad, and then these are also bad, so it's 4E. There's actually 2 different ways you can kind of find the same solution from here. If you do it the linear way is a little bit, in my opinion, is a little bit more random. If you switch, actually, you get something that's a little bit more standard. I guess I'll show both of those. Let me show the linear way first. essentially what I did is I realized that, okay, well, R, I could just always, you could always do R2, like R prime instead. So that's why I tried R prime. And then I realized, okay, well, this doesn't really help me that much, but there's this like interesting block here. Let me see if I just put this here, what happens. From here, the edges are here, 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 and here. And the corners are here and here. So it's like, okay, well, it kind of looks like this interesting pattern on both sides where you have like what this like looks like a fish to me. It's like this one is bad, this one is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And then this, I don't know, I've always called this a W, even though it's not really a W. It's like the anti-fish. These two are bad and these two are bad. So doing R2 now makes like this big block of bad pieces. Then you do U2, B2. And then I did U because, again, I always end my steps with the normal move. And then interesting here is that, well, yeah, I mean, this is just insane, right? The first thing you would try is probably L2, F2, L2. You would see that it's like wrong slice. But if you remember that U can always be inverted into U2, you do U2 first. And now we swap this column with this column by doing R2, B2, R2, U2, and then we just solve the cube. In 5 moves, but one of them cancels, so you get a 20. And that's exactly what this solution is here. Yeah, that's pretty insane. Let me show the inverse now, because the inverse is actually kind of interesting, and that's where I got these like 21 backups from. So I need to, let me invert the, it's inverting from here. So we're going to do dr on the, we're going to look at the inverse side after finishing dr. Okay. And this is what I saw actually initially when I first got to this 4A14E and I looked at it. I actually didn't come up with this solution first. I thought that the edges and the corners were like not in a particularly good position, and then I nis traced them and realized that, well, all of the corners have white on them, so they're all going to end up on the white face. And then the other thing I saw is that 3 of the edges had white on them also, which means that those 3 were also going to be on the white face, and the 4th one is just back here. So this is pretty simple. If we do U2, we can do our same like column swapping thing, but our column swap is also going to swap these edges. So I chose to do, when I wrote this down at least, I chose to do R2, B2, R2. The reason I chose to do that is because I wanted to match this up with this here. So I figured I'd just try that. And then initially I had done U, and this is actually the interesting tidbit here. Doing U actually is better here than doing U prime. But the reason I did U prime is because I checked the floppy, and you have 6 bad edges here, 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 and here. And you require 2 U2s. So one U2 would just cancel, so you might as well just try the U2 here. It turns out to get floppy now, we need to do 1 more U2. We have 4 bad edges in these spots. We can separate the corners that are supposed to be on top of each other with just doing 1 move. So that's how you end up with 3E in 20, except it's actually -1 because R2 cancels with nis for 19. That gets you here. And I tried a couple things. There's a direct finish to 22, which you can literally just stick. If you remove R2, U2, and stick this 5 move sequence on, it just solves the cube. There's also a slice that you can do where you insert U prime is what, E? Yeah, you insert an E and then do a couple slicey things and you get 21. I found this 21. Well, I found this 19 to 3E in like 20 minutes. And then it took some convincing, but I don't think there's anything better than 21. I don't think you can slice this basically to get anything better than 21. I think +2 might be the best here. I don't know. But it turns out that the U2 that I did at the beginning to get better floppy actually was not necessary. And actually, if you do B2 instead, you can kind of see the whole thing just kind of comes together here. Yeah, doing B2, essentially what we're doing is that we're actually solving floppy on this axis instead. This axis, the blue-green axis. And then from here, you get a 5-move finish also. And that would turn out to be the exact same as this, just inverted. So you end up with 20 either way. So after I found the 21, I like fooled around with trying another EO, but then I realized that I didn't actually try all of the sequences that were possible from this HDR. So this was one thing I tried, but then this basically gives you the same thing. I'm realizing this, I write really small, so maybe this is not actually clear. Yeah, so this actually gives you the same thing. Why is this not focusing? Maybe it can't focus at this distance, whatever. This ends up giving you the same thing as the slice from before. Yeah, so this is completely useless. And then I tried the stuff I was mentioning on the normal, where, yeah, you just kind of fool around and it just ends up working. And then after that, I realized, well, I could have just figured that out from here also if I just inserted, this is the B2 that was missing. And that B2 should have gone, well, if this were a U, this should be B2, and then there should be U2 here. And then you end up with the same solution, I think. F2. I don't know why F2 is here. Whatever. In any case, this is the one I found. And then, yeah, as you can see, I didn't even check the other EOs. I didn't write down the 5-move EOs because once I saw the 2-move EO and then this one was like a simple extension, there were a couple other simple ones. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to check the 5-move EOs anyway, so there's like no real point. I wrote down one of them for some reason. But I was like, there's no real point in me writing them down because I'm just going to waste time writing and I'm not even going to end up checking them. So yeah, it was a 20. And it's on 333 FM, and you can actually see like who submitted what. For example, yeah, this person submitted a 20. It's a different 20 actually than the one I found. I think this 20, yeah, this one is the same. This one is also the same. And then 219s, pretty cool. I still need to look at those. I'm happy that I beat Nachwan. Nachwan is really good. Bai Chiang is really good. I'm happy I beat Doug, even though Doug is not DR. Yeah, and I just randomly decided to do FMC today. Or tonight, rather. Yeah, which is pretty neat. If you roll my mean from Monday, from SCU 5, it's 28, 24, 20. Just 24, which is tied mean PB, and then rolling average of 5 across official and unofficial solves is like, I think 26, 22, 28, 24, 20, which is also 24, which is also PB, which is pretty cool. So yeah, nice. I got a 20. Mom, I got a PB.